Hi, this is Kimberly. Please enjoy our podcast, but remember our doctors are only here to educate, not diagnose. If you have any questions or need any further information, please email me. My email address is kim@mfwellness.org.
Hi, this is Andrea, and you're listening to the Spine Whisperer podcast. Today, we're talking about staying fit during the wintertime.
Miss Andrea, thank you for that introduction. The people will quickly notice we have Andrea in here with us.
Hello.
And not Miss Kimberly. And Miss Kim's off doing something or other. She's meeting you at a park after this, Dr. Fink?
It's real sketchy. That's just how Kim is.
If she pulls up in a white van.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
I would not.
Okay. All right. So we'll be on the lookout for that on the news. So when you're recording the video.
Or YouTube or Instagram.
Whatever. Yeah, it's going to be on some form of media. So we're coming up to the end of our second season, which is totally awesome. The next podcast, the last one, we're going to talk about the new building that we're constructing and all of the ways it's going to let us help our patients even more and all the really, really cool stuff that we have. It's like we're in the chrysalis phase. We've pupated.
Yeah, we're talking about a metamorphosis here.
And then we'll emerge into the beautiful butterfly that we've always been meant to be once we're in the new building.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was really beautiful.
Pupae. I think I used all the words from the larval stage. Our antennae are like rearranging and stuff.
I love it.
Yeah. I think it's because I've been seeing so many of the black and brown woolly caterpillars this year. Have you guys ever seen as many as you've seen this year? I've seen tons. Jamie says it's not good.
This was
oh my gosh, we have so many. But
it's gonna be a rough winter.
Is that Rancher's Almanac?
It's gonna be a rough.
It's the Rancher's Almanac.
It's gonna be a rough winter.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Well, that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. So what we want to do with this last podcast, thanks for getting us back on track, Andrew.
Mega segue.
We have to someday have a video camera for our recordings of this so you can see how much behind the scenes Andrea does on keeping this train on the tracks.
It's a train wreck.
So what we
Not
want
yet.
to talk about today, I want to get people updated on COVID because a lot has changed. Dr. Brad and Dr. Matt are going to be the guys who are going to cover staying healthy during the winter because it's starting to get cold. People are like, I don't really want to be out anymore. We're coming up in some of the shortest sunlight days of the year. So right now it really matters. And what we're trying to do here, because believe me, we're as tired as you are about hearing about this stupid virus. We hear about it all day. We've been on the front lines the entire time. No breaks for us. And what we want is to give you the impetus to really push hard. Vaccine, no vaccine, when's it going to get here? When are we going to? We just want to give you the information to keep you and your family as healthy as possible during the cold winter months. That's what matters the most. Let's get through this together, and let's give you the most current information. So in the beginning, we had talked about transmission route and droplet route, and I think, Dr. Matt, you were the one that talked about respiratory versus aerosol, whether or not that virus is on a respiratory droplet as people are talking, or whether or not it can go like up into the vents. To date, there hasn't been a well-documented case of the virus going up into a ventilation system like on an airplane or a school and infecting that group of people. And that is wonderful news. But there is documented evidence of it traveling an aerosol route in a poorly ventilated area. So one of the most important words we've learned in the last 45 days is ventilation. So we have to make sure that we are always trying to stay ventilated. When you come into our offices, we've got the air running or we have our fans set to on. Always air moving. That's the most important part.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just like to have it death cold.
That
people come in
ventilation
and
Or super hot.
Yeah.
I know that ventilation's always going.
Your ventilation in Wentzville is like, it'll knock you down. That thing comes on, you see the power grid flicker. My friend flicker.
Oh, nice.
You guys ever read that short story?
I am now.
Andrea, you know about my friend Flicker?
I do.
Oh my gosh.
I read a lot.
My mistake. I didn't mean to assume that you didn't. So anyway, that's and this is the Johns Hopkins Daily Notes. Like this is where this information is coming from. So originally we thought it was contact, or you touch something that's somebody with COVID. Turns out that viral shedding isn't as big a deal as they once thought it was. The respiratory route is much, much more common. And that's why it's stuff like masks, stuff like 6 feet of distance, people that are loud, yelling and talking, that produces way more. And I guess probably your best example is that choir group. Everybody got sick from the one guy. It's because they were singing. It's like 75% of the people in the choir, and it happened in 45 minutes. So what we need to do is focus on limiting our time in areas that have poor ventilation. Just always be on the lookout. Like how tall is the ceiling in this room? Is the air always on? Stuff like that. It's just little things that can help people get better. So, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was somebody asked me a couple questions. Stool shedding. If your kids are listening, cover their ears. Sexual transmission, and there hasn't been any documented anything on sexual transmission. And but there is in the stool, yes, but not in the other thing. So anyway, keep both those things in mind. Symptom-wise, people are like, well, I heard that you don't get a fever anymore. If we're looking at the stats, fever and cough are still your number 1 and number 2. Fever and a dry cough. Fever and a dry cough. Now, that's a lot of viruses and a lot of different things. Body aches, and then everybody is suddenly noticing their inability to smell and taste. That is not prevalent in all cases, and not even in the majority of cases. So in early infection is when people will see that, and it's not unique to COVID. So please calm your friends down. That's why we love giving you people that listen to us information, because we know you're going to go out there and do something about it. So anyway, that's to get people up to speed. So if you meet these people that are out there and they think that power washing everything that you touch with Lysol, but not wearing a mask is going to work, it's not. Of the two, it's respiratory route that we're worried about the most. And so as we going into the, close contact and being inside more, these are something that I want our patients to be out there our listeners to be out there watching out for. So that is the current state of the art when it comes to our understanding of how COVID works. The biggest thing is, like, how do we have these super spreader events? Like, what's happening there? Is it one person infecting all these people, and how are they getting away with it? And it's asymptomatic people. COVID is pretty famous now for the amount of people that have this stupid thing and they don't have any symptoms. Up to 40% of cases don't even know. They don't even know. And so this is why we always have to act like somebody does have it, and then we move on from there. Mm-hmm. Cool?
Yeah. Always know your exits in a room.
Yeah, your exits
in a room. That's not
well
ventilated.
Yeah. And who was that said always have a plan to kill everybody in the room? It was a real famous Marine. Be polite, be professional. We're not sure about that. Be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone in the room. We take care of enough Marines, so we would... God, I wonder if they have a plan to try to kill us.
I mean...
it's
Rule 3.
Yeah, it's Rule 3. It is true. They're very polite, though. That's how you know, like, law enforcement or everyone, they're so polite. The people that can kill you, they're just so nice. Okay, very good. I'm done.
I can go ahead.
Okay.
And so I'm going to talk about something we've been discussing since March, and that's about getting outside during this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And for many, many reasons, including vitamin D, getting that sunlight.
That's really
but it's a little bit tougher to convince people to do that as the weather gets colder and colder, or it's supposed to anyway, because today's December 9th.
December 9th, it's going to be 60-something,
right?
Yeah,
St. Louis area, it's going to be 60-some degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be real difficult for us to... We probably won't go back to work today.
Yeah. Today's a great day to go outside.
It is a wonderful day.
But I'm leaving at lunch today. I may come back.
But yeah, at some point, winter will arrive. Officially, the 21st this year, I'm sure that day will just flip and it's going to be 30 degrees. But the idea is I want to give you a few bits of information. Maybe that'll edge you to get out, encourage you to get outside.
Encourage. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. It's like we have a thesaurus for impetus. And we're just out here trying to find different words.
And there she is.
You're only allowed to use that word once.
I've used it in like 3 different podcasts.
I know, but this is the second time this podcast you've used it.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's the name of this podcast.
Yeah, it's like exacerbate.
Oh, sure.
It's like exacerbate. You're at a party, you're like, this is going to exacerbate the problem. And all of a sudden everyone's like, what? Yeah, okay, sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I'm going to start out with a quote, and this is from
nice, bro.
Dr. Tim Ford from Harvard University.
Dr. Tim Ford.
Ten, T-E-N.
Oh,
T-E-N.
Ford.
Bro.
That's his full last name. So it's not Tim. It's Tim Ford.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
What he said is, in colder temperatures, your heart rate doesn't have to work as hard, you sweat less, and expend less energy, all of which means you can exercise more efficiently.
That's pretty interesting.
this is my info for those people who actually like exercising.
Exercise more efficiently.
Yeah. Exercising in the cold, hey.
Right.
We'll look for more studies on this, but it looks like it might be more efficient. And then also, studies have shown that you tend to burn more calories.
Mm-hmm. That is what you want. I mean, that's what I want.
Yeah.
So that's
going to suck. You might as well, most calories per 15
That's what you're looking for.
That's right. Calorie burn.
That's right.
So, because not only are you exercising, but your body's trying to keep you alive.
That's right. You got to make that heat.
You also tend to have, it kind of mentioned that in the quote, but you tend to have more endurance, and so you can actually work out longer in colder weather. Mm-hmm. And now, I'm not talking 12 degrees, wind chill below zero. Right. I'm talking about 40s, 30s.
Yeah. You can, even in the 40s, though, like you can get pretty hot quick.
Yeah.
We were out walking last week. It was 42. And we had jackets on and sweatshirts, and we were already hot.
And that's a good segue into making sure if you are going to go out, and it is a little colder than that, even the 30s.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We always talk about warming up. So it makes it even more important when it's cold out. Get that blood flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wearing your layers, especially having some protection on your head, because that tends to be where we lose our heat through the head. But also hands and feet, because not a lot of padding.
If you forget your gloves, you're done.
I'm always jealous of guys that shave their head because they can always wear like a really awesome knit hat when it's super cold.
You could do that.
It won't ever mess with them.
There's nothing.
It won't mess up their hair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We could do that next podcast.
A whole lot of people looking at my hair right now.
Okay, the other thing is staying hydrated, and that's a big deal because in cold weather, you don't tend to realize that you're becoming dehydrated until much later than you would if it's hot outside. So make sure you're drinking that water.
Right, and you're already more during, at risk after. Because of the masks. You know what I mean? Like you're already drinking less than you're supposed to.
And then the last couple are make sure you're on a good surface. It does get a little icy in the wintertime. Nice. And last thing is sunscreen.
Nice.
A lot of people, of course, we think about during the summertime, but a great time to get out in the winter is peak. When the sun's at its height. So hey, there's a chance you might get burnt on a sunny day in the winter as well. So those are some things, and so all of this is about just getting outside. We've talked about vitamin D with COVID.
Right.
We talked about a few podcast episodes ago about seasonal affective disorder. Got to get outside.
Yeah, it all links up.
So take that chance. And I guess as some examples, I'll kind of open that up to everyone, but you just talked about hiking or walking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things we can do in the wintertime.
Ice skating.
Yeah. That's a really good idea.
I know at the Meadows.
Yes, at
Lake
the
St.
Meadows.
Louis area. And then
outside.
I believe they activity. Still do it.
Steinberg down there.
Forest Park.
A
few outdoor ice skating rinks. That's a great one. If it does actually snow, which we haven't had a lot of that, getting out to sled or
I've interrogated the woolly caterpillars, but they won't tell me what their ominous presence means.
When it's going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
I've never seen the numbers it's incredible.
I know the photos from last year. Like, it shows up on your phone. It's like, hey, this is what happened last year. There's been 3 or 4 different photos. There's been like snow. Our entire forest in the backyard has been covered with snow, and now it's like we haven't barely had any snow so far.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some more.
A lot of different ideas. Maybe we can come up with a list of ideas to do it in this area, but even going to Hidden Valley,
Hidden Valley,
if it gets cold
wildlife, man, there's there's great parks everywhere, and then in the cold, people don't want to go outside as much. So now you got naturally, if you don't, maybe you don't like humans, there's going to be less humans out.
It's easier to social distance.
Absolutely. All you got to do is just get used to being out when it's a little darker, And then, like you were saying, layer. Like, have a pair of long johns that you only wear when you go for walks or something, and leave them in the same exact spot. Like, get rid of any barrier you have. Take your shoes, take your stuff, get it ready the night before, and just leave it there. Well, I don't want to wear my long. Just wear them twice. Nobody knows. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's okay. Do whatever it takes to get the exercise and worry about the hygiene later. Okay, you're making a face.
No, I was just thinking of, I had read something where you schedule your workouts on your calendar, and so you don't cancel them.
Yeah.
So, I have a workout with myself today, so I can't cancel that.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. That's one of Dr. Matt's favorite quotes. Yeah. Dr. Matt's wife's favorite quote. Dinner with myself? Can't cancel that.
That's right. Yeah, don't cancel your workout.
Fantastic. Okay.
And if you don't like the cold, maybe just move up to Minnesota for one winter. See what that's like.
Oh my gosh.
Come back.
Lower your
and you'll be like, wow,
expectations.
Wow, this is great here.
Yeah, it's totally not
Dr. Mara, that is a wonderful philosophy You need to lower your expectations. Like, oh, people think this is too bad or too bad. Let's go see real bad.
Yeah.
Let's go see real bad, and then you'll see, and you'll be better. Yeah, that's interesting. When we look at the research that's coming out every single day, most of it has to do with COVID and vitamin D. The exact link in prevention of the cytokine storm, they haven't been able to ascertain. They don't know the exact, linear drop-dependent relationship, but they know without a doubt that if you don't have vitamin D, you're more at risk. And the more vitamin D you have, the better off you are in terms of responding. So I just want to, in case we hadn't made that correlation for people, this is why we're talking about this now.
Right.
Like, we're talking about vitamin D, not because the sun is leaving or is around less. It's because they need to now get it in their diet or from other ways. So anyway, Sorry. Go ahead. I don't know if I had talked about that.
No, I think that's a great segue to what we're going to be talking about. Vitamin D is the vitamin that helps with absorption of calcium and also immune response.
Nice.
The immune system. So if you don't have enough vitamin D in and around your system, you're not going to be doing those things efficiently. And that's what we want. So when we look at vitamin D, we look at D3 and D2. D3 you get from meat or from animals. And D2 you get more from plant-based supplements. So
I didn't know there was 2 different
vitamin
Ds.
It is shown in studies over time that you will have a greater impact on your vitamin D that's running around your system if you do more D3. If you're low in vitamin D, you would want to take more D3 because it has a greater impact on your body. The other way that we can formulate vitamin D is through ultraviolet rays from the sun. So when we're talking about exercise and we're talking about immune response, getting out there and getting our body to formulate and begin vitamin D, but it's part of the way. So a couple different things we also want to consider. There is a guideline for how much vitamin D you should be taking depending on how old you are. So for us in the age group that's in this room right now, we want to take between 600 to 800 IUs. That's like a regular dose of normal, healthy stuff every day.
So you can get a normal amount or the healthy amount by just going outside and eating healthy food.
That's right.
Okay, without supplementing.
Without doing anything.
Without
supplementing. Just a healthy diet. A varied, healthy diet.
Yeah, varied, very healthy diet.
Oh, nice, bro.
There are other circumstances regarding people that have immune deficiency or have certain bone diseases. So you obviously want to consult your physician before you start taking any kind of supplements and changing what you're intaking into your body.
You could have bonitis.
You could have bonitis.
Can you get too much vitamin D?
When you intake too much vitamin D, your body, your skin will make less.
Yeah.
So
it's a fat-soluble vitamin, yeah. So the fat stores it. That's the problem.
Yeah. So when you're
same with LSD.
When you're intaking vitamin D3 and vitamin D2, you want to make sure that you're eating fat-soluble foods with it. So Dr. Josh always tells people, whatever vitamin you're taking, that's great. We love that. But make sure you're taking it at the appropriate time with the appropriate food.
That's it.
You have to act like it's real food, or else your body won't do the necessarily grinding and crunching that's required to absorb it. Right?
You need cholesterols and other stuff to pull fats over. You have a phospholipid bilayer, and you're not going to get fat into a water-based system unless you have a half fat, half water soluble compound to do that. And so your body won't put that in there unless it detects that you're eating fat. If you take a supplement, your body will be like, well, that's a supplement. You have to have some type of fat to go with it to trigger that response. Usually the best way to do it is nuts.
Yep.
Nuts and supplements.
Non-salted, non-roasted. And that's pretty much how we view vitamin D and why it's so very important to us.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Like you can get it from the sun, not as much sun, and you're covered up a lot more.
Right.
Making sure it's in your diet. So there are so many people now that are trying to ping pong off this research with vitamin D and make these crazy claims, and that's crap. You can absolutely get enough vitamin D in your life from a healthy diet. The problem is that most of us don't have healthy diets. People are going 100 miles an hour. The kids are home from school now. You're home from work. Nobody's doing anything right. It's a disaster. And we understand that. And there's lots of good vitamin D supplements out there. The reason why we're taking the time to say this is because there is a link. You know, how linear is it? How present is it? How can we quantify? We're working on that. But right now, there's a good link out there. So make sure you're not skimping on your vitamin D. Vitamin D comorbidities are a huge part of what we call the cytokine storm of the ARDS aspect of COVID. So make sure you've got adequate vitamin D. Make sure your kids have adequate vitamin D. And we can do that through supplementation or good food like Dr. Matt described. Now, supplements as a whole are largely unregulated. You know, you could have Brad and Matt's supplement shop, and it could be a shack at the edge of the woods, and they just, you know, putting dirt in there.
That's a good idea.
That's our backup plan.
Sooner or later, they may get audited, but they can get away with it right away. You know, what you want to make sure you do is your research. You want to go look at that supplement company. You want to go their background. How do they do it? What do they have? The one that we've used for years is Standard Process, and they don't pay us anything. We don't get any discounts from them. They, you know, we've always used them because the doctors here are pretty much chewing that some of those like ligament supplements and stuff like that because of the adjusting schedule here. But that's one place for you to start. Look at the amount of vitamin D you're getting in your diet, and we'll have Kim post a link of, you know, vitamin D heavy foods.
Yeah,
and that's where you start. So what do we want you to take away from this? I want you to dress in layers, look at your diet, and wear a mask. You know, look for ventilation. I hate that the politics has come on so strong, just something that as doctors, it's real crystal clear. Like, if you're breathing something in and out, anything, you know, if it's not an N95 mask, if it's a cloth mask or a fabric mask, it doesn't matter. It's going to help. Like, that's all we're looking for here, you know, reduction in risk. So, all right, very good. Hopefully this will be the last time we have to talk about this ridiculous thing, but you know, it's our job to make sure you're all up to speed. There's a lot of crazy information out there. There's a lot of people looking to make a whole bunch of money off you know, just like with diet. People out there trying to make money off of the confusing amount of information. So listen to what we say because we're right, you know, and that's really it. So, Miss Andrea, you have anything for the people?
No, thanks for having me today.
I feel like you learned a lot today.
I did, yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Andrea's our target listener. Mom, kids, career.
Sure.
You're it.
I'm happy with the podcast. It's great.
Well, Dr. Maurer, anything for the people?
No, I think we covered it. Just get that vitamin D. Make sure you're taking that in.
Come on. Yeah.
And get outside. Especially right now while it's so nice out.
Yeah, you got a couple minutes. Go outside. You know,
and not just for the vitamin D, but for your mood.
And the ventilation. The earth is really well ventilated.
Yeah, and to stay healthy.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there is
an
atmosphere.
Oh God, this sucks. I'm cold. Okay, but you're at almost no risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, go outside. You know, suffer with your kids. That's way more important. Like, you know,
it's a bonding experience.
That is exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Suffer together.
That's right.
Misery enjoys company, and that's really where it's at.
Help them suffer well.
That's right. All right, Dr. Matt, anything for the people?
Nope.
Okay. Our second last podcast of season 2. And our second last podcast in this office. We'll have one more, and then we're done. We're gone. Or maybe out on the street if the building's not ready. But that's okay. You know, at least we won't be here.
We'll be outside.
Yeah, we'll be outside.
We'll just go down to Quick Trip, get some ice. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
A couple tables and some ice. That's all we've ever needed anyway.
Some space, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. For Andrea, for Dr. Matt, for Dr. Brad, for Kimberly, who's out there in the world. We will talk to you in 2 weeks for our end of season extravaganza.
And a big thank you goes out to Hug Monster Sound for somehow allowing the doctors' voices to sound even better than they already do.